Welcome back, guys. If you just watched our recent battle report, then you know there was a Necron victory with a final score. Necrons 97, Votann 71. So, first of all, I beat up a lot of your army. 71 still a relatively high score.
I think this mission, if you hold one and kill one thing each turn, you're going to score relatively high on primary. It wasn't primary where you really beat me. I think I had 44 on primary. You did get maxed out and got 50. It was secondaries where I was just not getting it done.
Running out of units, and it's also like the secondary draw. Like there wasn't really a point where you could play into a lot of those secondaries. Like you didn't see no prisoners. Assassinate took you 2 turns for that one. So I think, yeah, your secondary game, it was partially the cards and just opportunities into those things.
Yeah, and I think what's successful with Votann right now is a different play style than what I'm used to. So I do have to keep playing around with it because my 9th edition Votann was just kill my enemy off the table all the time, and it worked pretty well. And this is not quite. It works much more differently now, so I do have to adjust to that. But this destroyer cult, it really destroys.
Yeah. So I guess we'll redirect over there. I'm very surprised with this thing. Like this has been just consistent damage, consistent units. The consistency is just there. Like I have the units for the secondaries. I have the units to do actions. I have the units to clear. I have the units to tag objectives. Like this was meant to be fluff and meme, and this is fluff and mean.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
But this was destruction on another level that is not common for my lists. Like I usually play like the crafty backfield. I'm going to score points this way, and stuff's not going to die. And I just overwhelmed the scoreboard. This is very unique for me.
Yeah, I mean, it takes advantage of all the things that Necron shooting has, like the fact that the Sovereign Cornell lets so many things are hitting on 2s. You don't need rerolls if everything's hitting on 2s. You've got high AP. The heavy destroyers are AP 4. You know, that's hard to find, especially
and flat 6 damage.
And flat 6 damage and strength 14. Throughout this entire game, there was only one time when they didn't actually get the damage through. The last turn, I rolled a couple 6s on saves for my Hearthguard.
Yeah,
that was it. Other than that, every single time, every shot hit, wounded, and went through.
At this game, they were just absolutely precise on everything that they hit.
Now, I don't have any invulns in this list, so obviously it's not going to be perfect in everything. You run into lists that have invulns, you're going to have some challenges there. It's going to reduce your efficiency, but still, by the end of this game, I had a couple Hearthguard. Maybe I had 200 or 300 points, and you had over 1,000 points left on the table easily. So,
yeah, I definitely want to keep running into more competitors and keep running into this list into other things. With you testing Votann, I am compelled definitely to run some other lists for your sake as well. But there is definitely I'm going to be looking for some other like chaos and stuff like that. Try and get Nico back out here to play the Thousand Suns. Like I want to see, because I either want someone to bring a list and show me this isn't going to work, or man, I'm going to be gearing this thing up to take it to a tournament before that codex drops, because this is nasty. This is just wrong. How much damage it does, how much it puts out there, and how many units I have. Like I've looked over this, like it's so much board coverage, so much strength, so much damage. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, like I said, it would have felt like a fair game if you weren't able to reanimate at all, because everything just seems so cheap. You have so many units that you can use, some that you can throw away, like you're saying. It definitely, it's huge. But yeah, so what do you think might give you a challenge? Like what kind of defensive profiles and armies do you think might give you a challenge?
Well, I thought that the Votann range was going to be an issue. So I do want to see some more range matchups, ones that could possibly pick up the score packs, the 6-man score pack immediately. That's one that that's one that scares me. I do know that I'm going to lose units, and I'm prepared to lose the score packs at 200 points for the unit and still have the score pack Lord that runs with them. So that's one that concerns me. I would be curious to see what goes into Tyranids. I know Tyranids are not exactly the strongest choice in the meta right now, but they can get right up in my face and could potentially slow me down and put me in a corner.
Mm-hmm.
And orcs being able to fight on death might be a little bit of a risk factor with my Scorepack Lord, because one of the nice things with the Scorepack Lord is after he stands back up, then usually if you kill him during your turn, he stands up with half his wounds. Then I get reanimation protocol and he goes back up to full.
Yeah.
With the orcs being able to fight on death, they may be able to bypass some of my reanimation triggers and finish units off before I'm able to get the points in there. So I'm curious. That's one that I'm inquisitive about. I'm not too overly concerned with Eldar as far as a damage matchup, but I am concerned with Eldar as far as a secondary gameplay matchup. They're very quick, they're very agile, and they could stay away from me in ways that I can kill four guys in a 5-man, and as we saw, those little leftover dudes can still score points. Marines are.
I think Chaos Space Marines might be a challenge, like Obliterators and the Forge Fiends. There's a lot of shooting output there, and then Tau might be an interesting matchup too.
Tau would be in
the shootout with Tau.
That would definitely be interesting. It's going to be that one's going to be a tough one. That's one that I've been kind of metagaming a lot for them. They do have fire and fade capabilities, a lot of range, but one of the things that with Tau is the observer factor. They're I think it's called For the Greater Good, where they need to have observing units and spotting units and all that stuff. If I can, those observing units, as they get eliminated quickly, and there's hope that I could with some of the speed that I have, that's going to significantly shut down a lot of Tau's firepower. And so that's my wishful thinking. That is my absolute wishful thinking, because once you get on the table, everyone's got a plan till they get punched in the mouth, as the old saying goes. So that's my thought with some of those lists. Marines, now there's going to be some builds that are going to do some unique stuff that I'm not going to be prepared for, or that could do work to it, i.e. Death Watch teleporting around, Terminators, like Grey Knight Terminators teleporting around, Crusader Stars, things like that could mess with me. But as far as a standard Marine chapter, I'm not really overly concerned, just because I have so much multi-damage weapons that it's like anything I hit, I'm basically picking up Marines.
Yeah.
Aside from like heavy intercessors and eradicators and the 3 wound characters, and even going into them, the Scorepack Lord, the Locust heavies, and stuff like that can still just fully pick up dudes all day. So I'd say that's probably, going into it. I'm not concerned about AdMech, but I don't think really many people are with them in the meta right now. I mean, there's more playable lists right now, but not completely pushing the envelope. And I mean, that's just kind of just running through off the top of my head. It is late, but I really, this list it's concerning me in the aspect that it's like, holy crap, did I stumble on it? Is this really like crushing? Is this really doing what it's doing on this table? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's putting the work in here. And you have so much AP and so much volume of shots. Yeah, I think it's a really solid build. So I definitely think you need to test it and bring some more challenges on here.
Now let's close it out though and go over into the Votann, because you said this is not your typical play style and that you need more practice into this. So with these units, what units do you feel most uncomfortable with, and what units do you feel most comfortable with, as far as everything from the change to the new all character kind of builds and stuff like that? Let's start with, what did you feel the most uncomfortable with?
I don't think I use the bikes super well. I've been trying to run the 6-man squads, but a lot of people have just been doing 3-mans and using them as action monkeys and putting their damage output other places. I'm not really sure, because I like the volume of shots. It's 95 points for 3, so 190 for a 6-man squad, which puts out a lot of shots. It does put out a lot of shots, but they're so big and they only 4-up armor. Despite the fact that they're T6, they do get picked up pretty quick. I think you just had perfect profiles for just acing them, because they have no invulns of any kind. So not really. And then the Thunderkin were really hit or miss. They certainly have the ability to pop off, but also there were times in this game when they just completely whiffed. Because AP2 in certain situations is meaningless. AP2 can just become nothing because someone might be in cover and then they roll some 3-ups and then they're fine. If they have a 2-up armor save, it can definitely whiff. So I think they're cool. I really liked the Hearthguard with the plasma. The 10-man brick of those did a lot of work. So I may experiment with trying more of those.
Getting a more like going to like 3
I was
10
worried.
mans even.
I was worried the volume of shots with the plasma because each guy only gets 1 shot with the plasma. But
it's so reliable though.
Yeah,
And then
if there's judgment
to wound.
tokens and the strength 8, so basically going any kind of infantry, T5, T6, it's always hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, AP3, 2 damage. Consistently puts the damage out.
On top of the fact that their role in the game is usually going to play later into the game, so you can have them land and you can put out your 4 judgment tokens. So you have they'll go, okay, this might be a deep strike target for one of your tokens. And then later in the game, when you do lose units, then boom, you have the Hearthguard to go into it.
Mm-hmm.
So that might also be a reason to consider some of the 3-man action monkeys. Because then after those guys go up and do something and score that action, then they die. Well, what happens when they die?
Yeah, more judgment tokens.
Mm-hmm. You be a grudgeon.
Yep.
So we covered like what you felt most comfortable with, and as well as surprise, the Hearthguard. We got the fact of the uncomfortable, I guess, scenario of the bikes. Yeah. I got through it.
Bikes make me uncomfortable.
Bikes make you uncomfortable. You gotta get a better seat.
Right.
But what? So what does that mean though? What does that mean that you change up the bikes, or do you keep trying to make it happen?
Yeah, I certainly have some flexibility, and I've got more models painted up now, and so I can try hecatons again to see if they work. It seems like people running Sagittars are running 6 Sagittars, so I don't know if 2 Sagittars is right. It may be one of those things where either none or more, or maybe hecatons and Sagittars. I don't know, because it just feels like in this case. But again, maybe I wasn't using them right because I was exposing them too soon, and you were able to just shoot them apart. So, I don't know. I think it's a different play style that I need to get used to as far as using things for staging for later turns and for setting up for scoring secondaries, that sort of thing. Because Votann typically score well on secondaries because they have a lot of cheap units that they can move out there and do that sort of thing. And I just wasn't able to do that this time. I think it just needs more practice, more tweaking, and looking at just playing the missions more.
Are there any heavier weapon options that you can tag into other than the plasma?
Yeah, the plasma thing is that everything is so unreliable. Like the Hecaton Magna Rail in 9th edition, it hit on 3s. The Tech Marine, the Iron Master, could give it something +1 to hit. Mm-hmm. So now your Hecaton is hitting on 2s. Mm-hmm. Or you could just, for 1 CP, you could just make it auto hit. Now, the best that the Magna Rail will do is hit on 4. And maybe a 3 if there's a judgment token on it. The handheld one is ballistic skill 5 for some reason because it's heavy. But there's no rerolls, so it's just really inconsistent. So I'm going to look at some of the other options for heavy weapons. There's not a lot of AP. Like everything is just AP1, which in the 3-up armor is okay, but sometimes it's, I don't know. I think the plasma was AP3, so that was where it was really benefiting me. It was actually getting through when it needed to.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I think that the more, because I mean, that 10-man, once I went and looked at it with my locus, I was like, okay, I'm going to hit this squad. I'm going to remove. I was hoping to kill like 3 or 4, with the flat 2 damage. I'm like, okay, you fail a few saves. I killed those. Then you went bam, void armor. And then next thing you know, 1 dies. Mm-hmm. Then I hit him again, 1 dies. And now they're just marching around the field going, pew, pew, plasma, all y'all dead. I couldn't stop them. I couldn't get rid of them. And even the 5-man that was brought in there, I put a lot over there to eventually finally finish them off. And it took some work.
Yeah, I mean, if you attack them with something that's higher strength than their toughness, they're -1 to wound when there's a character on there. Mm-hmm. And they're T6. So a lot of your anti-infantry stuff is wounding them on 5s. Yep. And your higher strength stuff is still wounding them on 3s or 4s. You're never wounding them on 2s because they're always led by a character. So they are pretty reliably durable.
Yeah, they definitely are. And I definitely felt that this game where they were I was able to put numbers down and pick up the Thunderkin. I was able to put the numbers down and kill the Sagittar. And then when I put the numbers down to hit them, nothing happened. They just kept walling everything. And at the end of the game, I literally poured as much as I had in resources left into them. And you still had 4 guys left, 1 character and 3 dudes. So it's like they weren't going anywhere. They were not going anywhere. You know, a couple more turns, yeah, eventually. But I mean, that within the retrospect of the 5-turn game, that's what matters.
Yeah.
You know, we don't need to build. We're not building units that can survive a 10-turn game because we're not playing a 10-turn game. We're building units that can survive a 5-turn game, and they definitely can survive that 5 turns. And they only got to do it for 4. Being a deep strike, I do wish that you had something to pick them back up. I do feel like when you ran them in 9th and being able to pick them up and stuff like that, and looking at them now, I miss that ability, which sounds silly because of being the opponent to it, but I do miss that factor. I think that is a very critical once per game effect that hopefully when Codex time rolls back around, that's a unit that gets it.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, they can get stuck because they only have a 5-inch move. So if you put them down too far away, they might not contribute for the rest of the game afterwards. So they were a threat, and they controlled an objective for most of the game. So that's why I needed.
I mean, that was great. That was great. What they did was perfect.
Yeah, and 10-man is only 300 points.
That's not bad.
Put the character on there. He's only 60 points for the E-champ. So for 360 points,
wow.
Super
and do
durable.
all the E-champ. You can take multiple E-champ.
Yep.
And they always give reroll, fail charge it, or reroll. Yeah. All right. Any closing thoughts about this matchup other than you hate Necrons?
No, I continue to hate Necrons. Yeah.
And I continue to love my cronies. So, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed this game. Why wouldn't I? But no, I'm really liking this list a lot. It's a lot of fun to play. Strong. Yeah, it's silly. So look forward to reading your guys' comments and talking about this all going on throughout the week, and hopefully getting another game with this real soon. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.